What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning to another episode of Right on Cue Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Logan Chestnut with Small Batch Barbecue. Joining me tonight is Mr. Matt Osmond, a.k.a. Blinky's Offset Barbecue.
What up?
Or as I like to call him, the Stinky Pickle.
Hey, I met the
up,
Bumpy Pickle at Murfreesboro. Fantastic team name, great guys.
Did you say the Bumpy Pickle?
The Bumpy Pickle. Yes, they're
barbecue. That sounds like he needs to. Dude, that team needs a shot of penicillin. It sounds like a venereal disease. The Bumpy Pickle.
I mean, why not? But that's a great team name. I saw it on the side. I was like, all right, you got to tell me this. But they were great guys. But anyway,
yeah,
that's what
they were like, well, I called the number on the flyer that they handed out in Vegas, and next thing you know, blim blam, I got a Bumpy Pickle.
The what do they call them? The poppers, right? All the guys that hand out like the escort cards or whatever. Yeah.
What are you talking about? They're not escorts. They're ladies. Ladies company. No, man. Hey, how's your week been going, man? You got a crazy week Royal coming up?
Yeah. So was at Pig Fest this past weekend. Didn't have the best showing, but great time out there. And been cooking for tomorrow. I'll be at the Martha O'Brien Center with Good Charcoal, handing out sandwiches and meals to the public over there for their Fall Fest. And then to turn right around, clean up the trailer a little bit, pack it, load up charcoal, and I'm headed to the Royal. I'll be there with Rob Silverman, CEO, co-founder of Good Charcoal, will be on Pit Road and the vendor area. And I believe we're rolling into town Thursday. I don't know, what is it, like 8 hours from here? It's a little long.
Something like that. Yeah, ain't bad. Oh, so man, Good Charcoal, rocking with the Good Charcoal Company. As you know, Small Batch, we love the Good Charcoal Company. If you want the best, Good Charcoal is the way to go. But so what do y'all have planned there at the Royal for the Good Charcoal? Just shaking hand, kissing babies, and handing out charcoal?
Correct. Promoting it. I'm for sure at least bringing half a pallet, maybe a full pallet. I'm waiting on confirmation of that. And then hopefully I get to do, simple cooking demos, just, hand some pieces out, whatnot, to the public, and just, as I like to call it, spreading the good word. But no, we'll be there. They
spread the gospel.
They were going to have a site last year, kind of things didn't work out. And try to be at every major and sizable barbecue event. I don't want to just say competition, but barbecue event.
Sure. As you should, man. As you should. Oh, man, did you? I wanted to bring this up here. I didn't talk to you about it. Did you watch the game last night? Did you see that ending?
I saw a little bit of it. I also saw the ending to my Dolphins game.
No one cares about the Dolphins game after that Bears Warriors game.
Yes. And did you see the guy on the far end zone?
Yes.
Who had to apologize?
That was
dude,
epic.
That guy is roasted. And then I saw video of fans recording it from in the end zone seats. It was pretty wild. But that's the NFL.
Oh my god, I was screaming, dude. I hate Caleb Williams, the Bears quarterback, and seeing him all cocky and stuff, and that dude just doing the same thing just Caleb was doing, and then I love watching their reaction, fan of the opposite team's coach. They're
it was.
I mean, just you see the soul sucked out of their body.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it was nuts. And then listen. Cowgirls lost again too.
They're as consistent as the Titans are about losing, because we got absolutely spanked.
50 burger hung on them.
Banked, and our defense is good. I don't understand. Our offense is trash, but our defense is normally good. But a 50 burger, we got laid on it hard. But the Lions are no joke, man. The Lions are a legit team. So
absolutely, and
we suck. So it's basketball season. Screw football. All right, it's basketball season. You got my Mavericks and the Kentucky basketball. It's all that matters, man. Go Cats, baby. That's right. We don't have a football team. Maybe one day.
You know who doesn't? Our guest tonight.
They don't. You know what? I hear they're halfway decent team. Newly minted Hall of Fame inductees, and a fun fact: they were actually the first pro team I ever met on the circuit. Yep. at Smoke on the Shore. There that I were sitting like right across from me, and I was like, man, that's the big boys. I was kind of fanboying a little bit, but I was like, oh, this is the real team. I've seen them on YouTube before.
Yeah.
But no, anyways, tonight on our show, as we posted, is Lex and Robert from Smoke Me Silly BBQ. They are a big name on the circuit. They are now officially reps for the game. They were doing the full circle of everything barbecue. So from the great state of Alabama, I might add, let's bring them on, man. Without further ado, let's welcome Lex and Robert from Smoke Me Silly. What's up, guys?
Hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Wonderful. I tried to do a good intro. I think I bombed that one, but anywho, man. No, dude, y'all are coming live from Kansas City, right? Or right outside Kansas City?
Yep, Odessa, Missouri.
Odessa, Missouri. I mean the bright lights big city of Odessa, Missouri.
Yes.
Little competition going on this weekend, huh?
Yeah,
just a little one. Just a short drive from home,
Yep.
What is it, 12 hours? 12 hours from you guys?
It's about that. About 11-ish, maybe. It's far enough, man. I'm not used to driving that kind of stuff like a lot of these young guys do.
These young guys.
What year Royal is this for you guys?
We haven't done that many.
I think this is number 5 for us.
Yeah. We did the very first year
that we won.
We won our first grand in 2012. So our first Royal was 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because we didn't know we'd ever come back. So we were like, screw it, man, we're going. And that's when it was in the original site down the bottoms on downtown Kansas City.
Yeah.
How's it evolved since when you first started to now?
Well, then it was in the bottom, so they had a bunch of different arenas with a dirt floor on it. That was the thing about the Royal, getting your feet dirty, right? If you got to walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we didn't come for many years after that. In fact, I think it moved to the Chief Stadium.
Arrowhead.
We never went to that. And then it moved out to the Speedway, and everybody was talking about how great it was. I'm like, Lex, let's do it, man. Let's go out there and check it out. Because who knows how many more years we got. So here we are, 5th year in a row coming out here. It's a great time. I mean, and every other year we've had great weather. This year it's not looking like it, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, they messed with it, changed the date. So
I know on Halloween. I mean, I'm like, it's got potential. I was planning on going myself, and then I told my wife I have young kids, and my wife's like, no, you're not. You're not missing the kids' Halloween. I'm like, I mean, honey, it's like 30 minutes, and I'll be like, I'm tired, or I want candy. I'm like, she goes, yep, you're gonna be here for it. I said, yep, I sure am. I sure am. Royal, what?
Trust me, ours are not happy. I'll be out of town, and we did some trunk or treating this weekend, but Daddy's got to pay the bills, so
yeah. Hey, fair enough. At least you got an excuse. You're making money on this trip. I would just be losing it. But anywho, man, let's start off with the basic question that you've never heard before. Tell the people who you are and where you guys Smoke Me Silly from.
God, that's your story.
Oh, is it?
Smoke Me Silly? Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we're Robert and Lex. We're from Madison, Alabama, which is northern Alabama, near
right next to Huntsville.
Right outside of Huntsville.
Yep.
We've been barbecuing now, competitive barbecue, for 12 years ish. Started in 2011 in the backyard side. I think we started in May of that year. The Huntsville contest, the Whistle Stop. The company, the company I was working for said, "Hey, we need somebody to come take out the trash," pretty much, because they entered a company team in the back shade tree backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. Let's try that out. And then it was like a month out, 3 or 4 weeks out. They said, "Hey, our chicken guy can't do it. You want to cook some chicken?" And I'll be honest with you, I did not cook. I was okay cooking everything else except barbecue, right? I was probably more of a in the house cook. more than outside. I mean,
He
I
was more
grilled.
chefy.
I grilled, but not barbecue. So I went full court press. Anything that was online at the time, there wasn't as much as there is now, but there were some things.
Was Malcolm back then?
No.
Yeah.
Was Malcolm?
Oh, he was
doing KCBS then. He
Yes,
was doing
but-
KCBS.
Yeah, but he went on the YouTube video tutorials, or
No, he started right after that, I think.
Yeah.
I got
And if he was, he did have. In fact, they were the videos he had out of his home kitchen.
Oh yeah,
the OG ones, the early days.
the yellow
early-
kitchen days. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, she used to say, "Look, he's just geeking out," and I was
He totally nerded out. It was pretty sad listening to whose radio was it? Rempy?
Greg Rempe
Yep.
Barbecue Central show was like the big thing
Yep.
then, and then the site that had to show how to do chicken, scraping the skin and removing the bone
Yep.
and making the little chicken nuggets was called it's like Pickled Pig.
Oh, wow.
It's
Not
still-
even Barbecue Brethren.
Yes, the Barbecue
Yeah.
Brethren as
Yeah.
well, but Pickled Pig's the one that had the step-by-step chicken photos. It wasn't even video, right? It was still
It was
photos.
like barbecue forums, yeah.
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 So that's where I learned to do chicken. And so we go into this contest. I got a Weber Smoky Mountain, best cooker out there still
Mhm.
today.
Yep.
So I cooked this, what I think is the best chicken ever at the Whistle Stop. I was so proud of myself.
It was
Oh,
really good.
we
it
tanked.
really was.
We tanked.
Sure.
But I helped the guy with the ribs. He wasn't going to put sauce on his ribs. I'm like, dude, you got to put sauce on. Come on now. And he
Mhm.
did all the ribs with the sauce on it, and I did crappie and chicken. But you know what? That was enough to catch the bug. I was like, man,
Mhm.
awesome. I could see me doing this.
So then
Yeah.
he made me watch videos of people making parsley boxes.
Ooh.
My
Dreaded
wife would divorce
parsley.
me if I did that. You're a good woman. My wife would straight up divorce me. She'd be like, I made her do it one time for me, and she goes, "Nah, never again, never."
Have
Never,
we
never.
deviated from parsley?
Huh?
Have we deviated from parsley?
Oh hell no. Mm-mm.
You
I
have
said,
done,
y'all still do parsley, yeah.
you've
I
done
have done
kale here
kale,
and there. Yeah.
And I'll do like I think when we came back to the Royal the first time recently, when kale was allowed, I did 8 boxes of kale because they're quicker and they're easier, but they're not as pretty and they're not as flat as parsley.
Yeah.
And I know people say that they are, but I don't know. For me, that dark green color, that parsley really makes that meat pop.
Mm. Well, if you spray your kale with some cooking oil or something, I mean, it makes it dark green.
No, I've heard about that, but I'm just no. I'm a purist. Mm-mm.
Yeah, her parsley boxes are like putting greens. I mean, they're pretty
Yeah.
flat.
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
Somebody likes to slide the meat. Hey, can you hold on to the box? And he'll slide the meat over on the parsley. And you know that anybody that's picked up a piece of meat out of a parsley box usually have parsley all over it. This does not stick to the meat.
Wow.
It's pretty in there.
Fair enough. So let me ask you a question. As people, as I know, because I mean I compete in it. Some people may not know the Alabama backyard scene is one of the premier backyard competition area in the country, in my opinion. How was it? Was it like that back then? Was it still pretty strong when y'all first started off, or is it developed and grown into
It was
No.
pretty
what
strong
it is today?
back then.
Yeah,
and-
yeah, oh, yeah. It was a large group of folks that traveled everywhere, and just like you guys are doing now. Very much the same, just a different.
Yeah, you
group
had
of people,
you had a core group of people that were winning all the time, and
Yeah.
everybody, oh, you should go pro. You should go. I mean, you can't make people go pro. I mean, you don't know what their situation's like, but I mean, if they're happy doing the backyard and doing that and winning, and I wouldn't move to pro. Why?
It's a fun scene. Like I truly love the group, the Alabama people. It's definitely more personable than I feel like some other competitions I've been part of. And speaking of that though, I do want to talk to you because you guys have a rare perspective of backyard scene and then the pro scene and stuff like that. How would you compare like just we'll say the social aspect of both that you witnessed on the trail? Do you think the backyard scene is still a little more chatty and not as serious versus pro? I mean, it's almost a ghost town sometimes whenever it comes. I guess it depends on who you are and what like kind of circles you're in. And no matter what no matter what class you're, or whatever category. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
I
I see what you're saying. I mean, I think the
Yeah.
backyard is just as serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we're serious. Yeah, sure.
Just like the backyard. I mean, there's the only difference between backyard and masters is 2 meets, right? In
Yeah.
most cases, it's the only difference because you have entry level people coming into the 4 meet categories or the masters
Mhm.
the same way you do the backyard.
Yep.
Mm.
Those teams that's the only one
You
that they
know,
compete
so really there is no difference because if you go outside of Alabama where they hardly have any backyard, guess what?
Mhm.
If somebody wants to cook competition,
in.
they're going to enter 4 meet masters, right?
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think there's any difference really.
Were you
And I
guys
think with the-
Go ahead.
I think with like the classes and the information that everybody has nowadays, the difference levels, it's pretty close right now between backyard and pro with those 2 categories as far as the quality of food getting put out. I mean, you guys have seen from judges and also, I mean, even competing some. I mean, you've seen some of the boxes; they look just as good as what you'd see on the pro level. I'm sure you'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been judging too this year, so
Yeah, no, that's how you've seen a lot of boxes and stuff.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot out there that looks just as good, if not better, than pro, and some of it that we've tasted that is up there. That's
Mhm.
ours, I would
Yeah.
say. Sometimes.
And you know what? When we first started, there was a lot of especially in Alabama. A lot of those they did well. I mean, their boxes look good too
Oh, absolutely.
back
Mhm.
then.
Yeah.
But with more classes, more and more people are coming up. So
Well,
Were you
videos,
guys an
TV.
actual? Were you an actual backyard team before going to Masters?
yes, we in 2011 we started as Smoke Me Silly that September. Our first contest was Decatur Riverfest.
Yep.
Darn it. Rest in peace. It was a great contest. And then we did like 2 or 3 more.
Three. We did Coleman, Oktoberfest, and then we did one in Livingston, Alabama, and I can't remember the name of that one. I remember we were in a cargo van with no insulation. And Peter
Wow.
in the cargo van. So I had a dog on my chest, a dog on my feet to try and keep warm because it was in the 30s that night. And then the third one we did was Gurley, Alabama.
Yeah. And then
Or the fourth one. That was the fourth one. That was our last one.
And during that whole backyard time, I was scraping the hell out of those chicken skins, removing the bone even. And I'm like, this chicken skin business is the worst. I'm like, I can't figure out how to not do this. Well, at the time, the 2 teams, the hot teams on the circuit, on the Masters circuit, was a team called Tippecanoe Barbecue and Big T's, and they were both out of Iowa. So I convinced her to go to Iowa in the January.
Yeah, it was so much
in the dead
fun.
of winter.
It's so cold out there. It's like
but I paid for it because what I had to tell her is that week afterwards we could drive north to the Mall of America.
Oh, there you go.
If you're familiar with the Mall of America.
8 hours in the mall.
Yeah.
I paid for that class.
You did.
Well, that
thing either.
Yeah.
But I made him pay. I made him shop all day.
But that class
Good for you, Lex.
That class really set the stage because I learned how to not worry about scraping any skin. I didn't even trim the way I do now. I try to trim more now than I did when we first started out. But they really set us off on a good foot.
They did.
They definitely cut that learning curve down. So we love classes. We've done a lot over the years. Every year we've tried to do one. Even today, I forget who I was texting and saying, "Hey, when's your class?" Because we'll still go. We enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because classes, like I feel, is it's extremely important. It definitely cuts the learning curve down tremendously, especially for new teams. What classes have you taken that you think has like leveled you up in your barbecue game early on, and then what do you feel like that when you take classes or in the past what techniques and stuff, because it's not so much like their rubs and sauces that they use. I feel like it's the little techniques and stuff that you pick up that is the real game changer.
Well, I think, like I said, that first one was definitely the one because nothing, right? Basically, except what I heard on that show, and then that one other site about the chicken. I knew nothing, so I started out learning flavor profiles and processes. That was from that first class up in Iowa. I mean, that was it. So excited after that. I'm like, here we go. We're ready.
And
did you guys
dental tools for my boxes?
Yeah. Big T's wife is a dentist, and she uses she'd use dental tools to put parsley in and do for whatever else clean up inside the box. So,
did you guys was the Wagyu movement happening around that time, or was it still?
I think it was just starting.
Yeah, it was just starting. I can't even remember the name of the company we used. They're still around, but they do a prime brisket.
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
Or something like that.
No, I can't remember it. But Creekstone.
Yeah.
Creekstone Farm.
Creekstone. Okay. Yeah.
They still sell, and they did a good prime, and that's what we started out. But then at the time, Snake River was starting to come on the scene, and then we switched over to them. Yeah. But
I know you.
Go ahead. Other than that,
go ahead.
Other than that class, I think we've taken a lot. Different people. I think one other one that really sort of set us on a different trajectory and we started a little bit better was Clark Crew.
Yeah.
We went out to Oklahoma to do his class once, and that helped us quite a bit.
They cook on cans, don't they?
At the time, no. He cooked on the Jambo, on the trailer.
Okay. That's another thing. Like, do you feel like when you go, like, people are picking classes, because, I mean, class season's upon us here, coming up here soon. Like, go to a class that is on your similar style cooker. I mean, I think that's an important aspect of it. I mean, if you're an offset cooker like that, I mean, you may not get as much out of like a can class as you would, and vice versa. I mean, do you feel like that's true, or do you kind of feel like you're going to pick up pieces no matter what, but it's more beneficial if you go to somebody who's cooking on what's similar to you?
Yeah, you definitely do. I mean, the can flavor is definitely a little bit different, but in some ways, there's a lot of correlation. You can make it work. Like for me, for chicken, we've done chicken so many different ways over the years, and I think I watched the Barbecue League and Bethany doing her chicken. They first came out, and she started doing that video. And I was thinking, you know what? I can convert her process and make it work on a Weber Smoky Mountain. That's what I did. I jacked up the temp to 300. I use lump. I don't do direct. I still keep the water pan in there. I don't have any water in it. But that's how I cook my chicken. I do it right on that pizza screen, and then I put it in a pan of butter and do same process.
So you just use like the water pan as like a deflector, essentially?
Yeah, I would have. When we were backyard, we might have put water in it, but back in the day, Harry Sue was big, and I guess he put sand in his. But we just boiled ours, and we used the Guru, and that worked for us. We didn't have to worry about and we didn't have to use water.
Yeah.
So that's the way we've always.
Harry Sue. That's right. He taught me my chicken too. Whenever I first got going was Harry Sue's YouTube videos.
Of the four meats, who cooks what? Whose responsibility is?
It's kind of both of our responsibilities. He puts the meat on, and half of it on before I'm all ready. So the ribs or the pork and the brisket go on. Ribs go on after I'm all ready, but we kind of both manage the cooker.
Okay.
So
yeah,
2 sets of eyes.
Yeah. Well, we have a timeline, obviously. We definitely follow a timeline. We got an Excel sheets all over the RV, so that helps me anyway stay on track. And she lives by the timeline. Yes. If I try to shift something 5 minutes, she's there under the old timeline, right?
Wow.
It's hard for her to switch over.
Yeah. So if you guys could come up with this, you'll see me go nuts because it's a half hour. It's not even an hour increment. It's a half hour. So it's going to freak me out.
I remember down at Sip and Swine, we were hanging out around Jarvis's little, y'all's little circle down there, and Robert's out there talking and having. I remember you sticking your head out. Hey, it's time. We got to go. We got to do this. He's like, I got to go.
Even that one is different because we're cooking on cans on that one.
Right.
Jarvis brings his
Lawrenceville.
cans,
Yeah.
So it's a different timeline for us.
So,
Sure,
question about
sure.
that though, because you guys have traveled in so many states, there's obviously elevation, there's ambient temperature, weather, etc. Like, yes, you have your timeline, but in certain aspects, you have to be flexible because this brisket and that pork isn't going to cook the same in mountainous, etc. Do you guys kind of have your map going to contests because you guys have had longevity, or it really doesn't matter where you stick to it, kind of no matter what?
We normally, where we usually go, we usually don't have that much of a difference, except when we went to Wise, Virginia. If you've ever been there, Wise and Galax.
Yeah, I haven't. But
Wise, my timeline did not work there as well. So some stuff was overcooked, some stuff was undercooked. I learned a lot there, and then Galax, I sort of tweaked that. We did a lot better in Galax, but yeah, that's about the only places I think we made much change.
Yeah.
Where elevation was an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, elevation, like I said, that's one thing I've kind of learned this year is kind of pay attention. Well, I mean, where I cook, I mean, it's pretty much the same elevation in Alabama and Tennessee. I mean, it's very similar. But whenever I start to travel, especially with some of these big teams that we've talked to on the show, and they travel all over the country, and the elevation and the temperature of what water bowls at and all this stuff. I mean, there's a lot more stuff that comes into consideration for some of these guys that I would have never thought of. It's definitely, that's one of those pro tips you won't know unless you're in the know, and that's what separates I feel like the boys from the men when it comes to that kind of stuff. You guys have made speaking of separating boys from the men, you guys have done the trail and y'all points chase before, haven't you? Like what's
Yeah, we have. Seriously, I think we did. I did it 3 years during the 12 years.
3
Mm-hmm.
Where we hit it really for points chasing. I mean, yeah, we've done 30 contests at least for I don't know how many years. We were always doing 30 to 35. But serious points chasing where we I would say about 2 or 3 times where we were close to 40 or might have hit 40, and where we were traveling to crazy places.
Tell me about the mindset of what it goes into when it comes to doing that kind of numbers of comps. And because I did 15 and my wife is about to kill me. I can you're doing 30 to 40 and Kirkpatrick and Schaefer and all them. I mean Joe, they've freaking done 40 to 50 before, and I'm like, I don't know how you guys do this.
Well, let's be honest. It's really easy when you just win and win and
I mean,
win and win.
it definitely makes it definitely makes it a little more fun.
When you sit there and you look at it, you're very consistent. If you go weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend, you get so consistent. It's like breathing. So if you're on that roll and you're winning and you go out there every weekend, you have a better chance of winning the more you do and the more consistent you are. So those people that do go out there, I mean, and if you're doing bad, it's hard to keep going. It really, really is. And there's sometimes that you just get in your head and you just, for some reason, you get in your own way. And it's not that your food's not any good, but there's something going on where you're not hitting it towards the end because you're in your head going, I need these points. I need to get a GC. I need to get an RGC. That's all I can get. I need to get points. Because we get to that point where, you have to have a first or a second overall to get points. And it's hard because at that point, you're all in your head and you're going to be the one to screw yourself up.
And you feel like a jerk because you'll be at a contest and you'll get 4th and you're like, damn, we suck. And everybody else is looking at you like, what? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any points.
Yeah, we were in a race with who was it, Big Papa that one year for pork?
Yeah, for pork. Yeah.
And we were in King Biscuit Barbecue Festival in Helena, Arkansas. And we needed a first to pull ahead of I think we were tied at that point, but we got 4th place, and I said, shit. And everybody it's like the music stopped. Everyone. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm happy for the fourth, but I'm not getting any points, but it's a perspective, and it's not, being, somebody who's like, oh, well, I deserve it. It's not that. It's just that you want to do better. And
Right.
Yeah.
One of
I finally
my
go ahead.
favorite stories is I happen to have been, I didn't compete, but I was there just cheering on and helping run some boxes. I was at a competition that Smoke Me Silly won that half of the team was absent for their walk, if I remember correct.
Oh, was that when he took off early?
Yes.
That was Moose Lodge, yeah.
Yeah, that was Moose. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
I like
last
that.
year.
I sort of like that being
Yeah.
there because one, I thought our cook sucked, and two, there were storms coming in, and I had to hurry up and get to the RV park before there was one of those things you had to be there before they closed.
Yeah.
Or closed the office, so I had to get on the road, which that's one of the very few times I ever had to do that. And then I was all of a sudden I was getting calls from people.
Yeah.
Matt, you were one of them.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were out there and congratulating people, and I just got my phone out and I was like, "Hey, you guys won! Yeah, good job!" But oh yes.
You
So
you
talk-
won't ever see us hardly ever leave competitions like before.
Oh no, that was a one-off. I knew for sure.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
one of those things. We usually stay all the way through for awards, regardless of how crappy we think we did. So
Let's talk about making that jump. You're talking about GCs. Like, how long did it take you guys till you got your first GC? Because people think the level you guys are at. I mean, y'all got GC after GC after GC now on your record, but that first one's always the hardest one. I feel like you're always chasing it.
Yeah, well, like I said, it was at 2012 was our first year as pro. Quick story: our first pro contest in 2012 was Tupelo, Mississippi. Probably one of the best contests on the circuit. That's where
awesome.
you showed up across the street from where the site was, and then you had a police escort of about 10 teams at a time around sort of part of the city, and then into that area. It was the coolest thing. But that's where we started, and we were under a tent in that little white van, and we're like, holy crap. In fact, we had a team from Georgia that was big at the time. What was it? I can't remember his name.
Pit Bulls Up in Smoke.
Pit Bulls Up in Smoke. And he had an entourage, right? It was him, his wife. He had a guy with a camera taking his picture, and he's shaking everybody's hand. He was like the Myron Mixon of Georgia, I think, at the time. And he rolls down to our tent, and we got our WSMs lined up, and we had a pile of Kingsford blue bag charcoal. We were like, okay, we're ready for this thing. And he comes up, shakes her hand, he says, "Yeah, you guys are new at this, aren't you?" Like, how'd you know? And he pointed to the he pointed to the Kingsford. He said, I could tell. Nobody uses that kind of charcoal. And so we go into awards, and blew my mind. We got a second in chicken, and we're talking at least 60 pro teams.
No, there was 80
from all over the country. And we were like, holy
crap. Keep them honest, Lex. Keep them honest.
And then we go to ribs, and we get a second of ribs. And I mean, we were doing okay in the backyard for those few that we did. And I'm like, all right, awesome.
Yeah, we got the chicken and ribs down. Yeah.
But I knew pork and brisket were crap, and they were, because we didn't get any calls. But man, we couldn't have been happier for our very first contest. But it took a while. Our next one, we did totally crappy.
That was the reality.
Knocked us down a peg.
Yeah.
And we took the year to sort of get things together. We did okay, but it was a contest in Georgia in the September.
No,
it was October, November timeframe.
No, so October we got our first, or November. It was October or November we got our first RGC, and then the next contest after that. Oh no, you're right. It was October.
Yeah.
The next contest after that was Gainesville. In Georgia, where we won our first GC.
Yep. And
So that's your first season, or?
Yeah, it was our first season.
Wow.
And it's funny because we hadn't competed in Georgia much.
Mm-mm.
And we sort of go in there, and they called our name. It was some weird scoring anyway, but we only got like 2 or 3 calls only, and got down to the end, and the guy, I can't remember the guy that normally, he was winning a lot at the time. and he got the reserve, and everybody's looking around like, who won this thing? And they called us, and somebody told me, everybody's looking, who the heck is Smoke Me Silly? But yeah, that was a good one, and that's the one that sort of set us up to go to our first Royal. So yeah.
Did you
So
did you get your draw on your first year? Did you get the bung draw?
No,
No.
Okay.
That was the following year. For I think we got
year 2.
Minneapolis,
What's that?
Illinois.
Logan?
Yeah.
Year 2, you got to go to the Jack.
Yes. Yep.
God.
Well,
Yeah.
let's hold off on that for a second because we're going to come to the Jack. But Robert, you're a bit of a excuse me, a numbers guy, if I may say so. Have you heard the average of KCBS Master Series? I've been trying to find it. I heard that it's 44 competitions is the average for a Master Series before they get their first grand. Have you ever heard that number out there?
No, I haven't heard that.
Okay.
It's up there. I know it's in the over, it's over 20. I know for sure, but yeah, that sounds right. Like not outrageous. But
I mean,
some
it's,
people just have it though. Yeah.
You would think it would be less now with all the classes.
And that could be an outdated number as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, everybody's so good now. I feel like everybody's taking classes in the off season. Like the scores, have you noticed like the last couple of years, like the scores are getting higher and higher and higher. I feel like, maybe it's just backyard. I know backyard for sure the scores are getting outrageous, but in pro, pro, if you don't get a 178 or a 180, I don't think you have a chance to win a category.
Yeah, it's definitely getting higher. I think it's a lot of reasons for that. I think the whole comment card thing and now it's like that 7-8-9 game, really.
But it also
and
depends
it's more
on where you
8-9 more than anything, unless it's really bad. Then somebody gives you a 7.
Yeah.
Where were we recently? Because we haven't cooked a lot this year. This is number 8, and number 9 this weekend. So I think we were in Madison, Indiana. We were the only team that got 4 calls, and we were 3rd or 4th.
Wow.
So
scores matter.
They do.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I still remember that Coleman one down there in Bernard Blues and Boogie that I saw you guys down at. That one judge walking around saying, "I don't give anything above a 7," and I'm like, I will smack. If I heard that, I would have smacked him. I'm like, you.
Just joking.
Yeah. No, he said I don't give any scores above a 7. He said 8 if it's really good. I'm like, man, you're a team killer. That's like it's getting so hard now with the scores getting so high. Like you get one judge like that, you're screwed. I feel like.
And speaking of scores,
luckily, majority I think are better than
they're fantastic judges.
I'm not saying they're better, and you can't really say that he's wrong if he's going by the description. Really, he's probably more correct than the people that are scoring high, right? So who knows? Obviously, he probably wasn't in line with others if he actually scored like that. And I don't know if we even saw scores like that anyway. Who knows?
Yeah, but go on that though. Because you guys yourself are judges, so we have some judges that watch the show. Like, what is your ranking when you look at a food? Like, if it's appearance, if it's looks nice, then it's is appearance pretty much automatic 9 for you guys unless it looks really wonky.
Usually,
I would say
that's your most lenient category, right?
Ooh, that looks good. I want to try that. 9. It's that quick, right?
Yeah.
I'm not examining. I've seen some.
Oh yeah.
It's rare, right? When I say these kind of things, like if I say something negative about judges, most judges are awesome. Spent a lot of time with them over the last year and a half or so. But there's some that are looking at the sides and looking like this, but not many, right? I've seen it. I don't know what they're looking for. It's one of those things. Pop the lid. Oh, that looks good. I'm going to give them a 9 in most cases. And most judges are like that.
Sure. And then taste. Everybody's taste. I feel like, you guys eat a ton of. You've had, especially this year, you've had a lot of competition barbecue. Everybody's flavors for the most part are probably very similar. when it comes to that. Some judge said, I wish I tasted something other than Blues Hog in the sauces. But then, if you don't put it in there, it don't win.
But you can't taste it. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, I know that has Blues Hog in it." It probably does, but you can't.
More than likely it does. I mean, more than likely, 99% of the time it does.
First place used Blues Hog, and so did last. I mean,
that's like those sauce contests. So we've been to contests where people, when we were on BBQ, a few of the BBQ teams went out and got Sticky Fingers. Sticky Fingers?
Sticky Fingers, yeah.
The same sauce, and they all turned it in. One of them was like first or second. The other one was like middle of the pack, and the other one was at the bottom of the pack, but it was all the same sauce. So you can't tell me that they know what they're tasting.
But it varies. We are very fortunate. The last 2 times out, a couple weekends ago, I judged Whistle Stop. We did, and we judged what's the one?
Scottsboro.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to actually judge, so we got to
try some food.
Eat.
We didn't have a table captain. We were eaters there. Yeah. No. But you could tell. I mean, the ones that won is the ones that had flavor, not just on the outside but the inside.
Yes.
That chicken and ribs, and you could tell the difference. I mean, there were some entries where it was all sauce, right, on the outside. They had flavor, they had raw sauce on the outside, but the ones that did well on our tables were the ones that had flavor in the meat.
Yep.
Right.
I mean,
right.
that's
within judging. Have you seen anything, let's say, slightly outlandish, such as a judge who takes a really great bite of barbecue and verbally has like a really giveaway or anything? Have you guys witnessed something like that? I've heard a couple stories from past judges. They're few and far between, but
I mean, I've had some good stuff where I'm like, ooh. I mean, I made a sound. I might have made it like, damn, that's good, but I didn't say it.
Yeah.
But I might have gone, not probably like, oh crap, I can't say anything out loud. But I've done that in the past. But yeah, I mean, everybody's pretty quiet, so.
I can imagine like taking a bite of raw chicken and be like, oh hell no.
Well, that's the bad thing. So if you have raw chicken or something that you have to spit out, I mean, it's you gotta keep that poker face going and not attention to yourself. And I had one judge at one of the contests. We had a really hot piece of chicken, and he was watching my face because he was ahead of me tasting the chicken, and he was watching my face. And he started laughing, and I'm just like, dude, stop! Please stop.
That'd be like, what's worse for you as far as judges? Like when you're tasting a bite, is something like entirely too spicy, or if it's just like super bland?
I would say, because I've had this at a couple contests now where it's entirely too spicy, but you have to think, because I saw someone who posted that they had very spicy stuff, and if there is a spicy thing on your plate and it is number one, that team just knocked out all of the teams on that table.
Sure.
Because you can't taste them. I give benefit of the doubt, and try, but it's hard because you can't taste anything. And even by the time rib comes, you're still sitting there trying to come back from, having your taste buds.
If I see the judges bring out like a gallon of milk on the table, be like,
well, that's you can't have any milk at the table. It's only water.
I know. Yeah. I know. That makes it worse.
That's when that table goes through a whole sleeve of crackers that quick. They probably had the spices.
Yeah.
Have you guys had a DQ entry or like my claim to fame, my first KCBS chicken turn-in where I had 4 pieces of chicken in there? How often do you come across boxes, or is it kind of still rare these days?
I think it's a little more rare that it happens in the judges' tent. Being late to turn in happens more often, or a new team with the wrong garnish. That happens. Matter of fact, we were one of our rep training. There was a team that nobody caught the bad garnish for 3 turn-ins, so it got to the the tasting table. What is it called?
I don't know, leftover. They go
Yeah,
leftovers.
And somebody saw it there saying, "Hey, is that right? Is that garnish right?" So they went out and told the team, "Hey, you guys can't be turning that stuff in." But nobody caught it.
Yeah, it was mustard greens. They were turning in mustard green.
Yeah.
And
I know what contest you're talking about.
That's a testament to good judges, though, because their focus was on the meat.
On the meat, not on the.
I mean, yes, when they talk to the judges in the beginning, it's one of the questions you ask him: are we supposed to judge garnish? And the answer is yes. You judge it for legality. That's it.
Yep.
Making sure it's legal garnish. But sometimes, you're in a hurry and they flip the lid and you're like concentrating on the meat, right? You're not really looking at the green. And I think most judges are like that, where they're not really paying attention to the green part. They're just looking at the meat.
So about that for a quick second, now that you guys are full circle, is there a big, because I don't know this, so I'm just generally asking for me. Is there a big reason why these are allowed and those are not? Because if I'm not mistaken, isn't cilantro still allowed as legal?
It is.
But mustard greens are not.
Right. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You should do cilantro, Matt. That sounds like a great.
I've been this close. I have been this close to actually putting it in because it's my favorite herb. That and basil are back and forth. But
do some rosemary. Throw some rosemary. Make it pretty.
Sam Appleton actually saved me from the first time
oregano
that I cooked Perry's event, which we're going to come full circle to that here in a little bit. But I had mustard greens. I knew of that. I just didn't know that mustard greens were not legal. And they were coming over visiting, and I just kind of had it out there. And he was like, "Is that what you're going to put in the box?" And I said, "Yeah." I was like, it's mustard greens, kind of looks like kale. And he's like, "You will be disqualified." He's like, "You need to put something else in." I was like, "Oh, I'll go into the store." I think mustard greens look gorgeous, personally, way over cilantro.
Yeah.
I hate all of it. I hate them all.
Yeah, you know what? We thought that way in the beginning.
Yeah,
but
it was a pain.
Especially nowadays with KCBS, where you don't have to fill the box. It helps keep the meat in place in the middle and nothing flies all over the place. Because if you did no garnish, you definitely would have to fill the box.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ambient style.
Look good, right? So that's why I like garnish. It, less meat you have to worry about. And all these guys just cook like three CT collars and 2 racks of ribs. I mean, they need that garnish.
Yeah.
So talk to us about becoming reps and where the mindset, and obviously you guys are committed to KCBS, to Competition Barbecue. Like, what was the big pushing point? Was it you guys had cooked a lot and wanted a different avenue of it, or did you see an opening? Or
I wanted to keep cooking. Somebody else wanted to slow down.
Yeah, I forget what year was it? We ran points a few years ago, and man, I was exhausted after that. I'm like, you know what? I feel beat down. I'm exhausted. That's when we did Smoke on the Bricks here. This was sometime during the middle of the summer. And then we drove up to Omaha, Nebraska, and I'm like, what the heck are we doing? We ain't rooters and tooters now.
Dude, he's got the Energizer Bunny. He just don't stop. That man just go.
More power to him. I can't drive through the night. I mean, I need my 8 hours of sleep.
Well, that's why I drove all the way back home and you stayed up here.
Yes. But that hit us hard. So after that, I'm like, we need to slow down. One, you could spend a lot of money in competition barbecue.
Yes.
If you, especially in the Masters 4 meat side, and if you're not winning at least some of that back, it's tough, right? At the end of that season, I sort of calculated in my head what we spent and the number
up a little bit.
I'm like, we need to, get, and especially the previous years, we were doing a lot of comps too, and our house, it was starting to. I joked that people probably in the neighborhood were calling us the white trash of the neighborhood. So I'm like, we need to get our stuff together and get this house sorted out. We need to spend some weekends at home. So
what do you...
Robert's like, let's just rip up the grass and put AstroTurf down so neighbors don't complain.
If the homeowners association would let us, he probably would.
What do you think the average cost per comp? Let's say you're cooking a wag. Let's say you don't have any sponsorship. You're just out of pocket, run of the mill, and I'm not talking about fuel. I'm just talking about raw ingredient, rub, etc. cost. What do you think the average is for most folks these days?
Yeah.
I don't like to hear this number, so
I don't.
1,200 maybe.
Probably at least I would say we're very fortunate. We have two great sponsors, Atlanta Barbecue Store and Compart. So they help out a lot. So very fortunate there. But I would say it's probably, at least now, they were saying it was 1,000. It's got to be way more than that.
I think it's around 12 to 15, in my opinion, because you're gonna
at least.
Yeah,
because what the average pro entry fee is what, 250 ish, 250, 275.
When now 250.
You're lucky for 250
for us anyway. Okay. Maybe. I mean, I still think 250. It's rare now. You're up to 275, 300 easy nowadays.
I got you. And then a Wagyu is what, 250?
Three.
Is it 3 now?
Maybe 3 something. It includes shipping, of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A9's the same way. Just as expensive. So
yeah.
And then $20 rack of ribs. So if you do 4, that's another $100. And then yeah.
Oof. Charcoal and all that stuff.
Let me ask you this, because
hotel pans, the whole 9.
Yeah, absolutely. I see. Here's the trick: you don't buy those. You go around and borrow them from everybody you know. I'm notorious for walking around and like, hey, you got pans? I don't have pans. I forgot them. Like you forgot them at every comp. Yeah, maybe. You got pans? No. Let me ask you this, because like I said, you guys are actually new. Saw you guys via because I did like you did whenever I first started doing barbecue. I looked at every YouTube thing I could find and every piece of information I could devour, and I stumbled upon you guys, your little YouTube stuff with another great friends of mine personally, and you guys, this Smoking Sweetmeats. Like there, I know you guys are good friends, and they're so nice. And I saw that YouTube video you guys did like a little practice cook or whatever back in the day, whenever you're, I forgot whatever you were doing.
Life Barbecue.
That was it. The butt ranch, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. No. But you know what? I think I forgot where I was going with that.
Where is Silly Life Barbecue?
Logan.
Is Silly Life Barbecue going to make a return, but more towards
Silly Barbecue Life?
Silly Barbecue Life
on hiatus. I don't know. That was, I enjoyed doing that, but to compete and film a lot of the content, because I just didn't want it to be about, when we were doing it, I told her I just don't want it to be about our cook. I want to interview other people, but I also wanted to go out in the community where we were, and sort of highlight a couple places that were local there, that someone that was coming there, they could go check these other things out. I wanted to be.
I remember you Smoke on the Falls. I remember that was that one. Smoke on the Falls. You did the waterfall. See, remember?
Yeah.
But no, I remember I was going with that, because I remember when I first started, I'm like, well, Lex and Robert, they use Compart, so I need to use Compart, and I see you guys' ribs, and so I ordered. I know they're sponsors of yours, but have you? This is not negative or anything by any means, but do you think the sponsor teams, like I looked at your ribs and y'all have some good thick honker ribs, whereas the ones that I ordered from were paper thin. Do you feel like there's some do you think they fluctuate throughout the year or Compart with the thickness, or is it they kind of take care of certain people versus call-ins?
Yeah, they do. I don't honestly. I don't get anything special because Smoking Sweetmeats.
It's just the thickness, right?
Yeah, Smoking Sweetmeats cook Compart too, or they did, and
they're
the same things we were, right? There was some variation here and there. They had a tough time during COVID because having the people come in and do the meat processing, I guess, but it got really thin in COVID. So there were times I did have to find some alternatives, but pork has been pretty consistent from them for me. Full butts, and if I want to make it a collar, I cut my own collar out of it. But
but I will tell you, even with the ribs that we were getting that were kind of thin, that he would, I mean, sometimes he would switch out and we'd have a couple of, what was it, Prairie Fresh?
Allegiance,
Allegiance.
Allegiance.
But if
Dude, they
we
got some
were-
honkers.
Yeah, they do. But if we were sitting there and he was cooking both kinds, I would be tasting them and he wouldn't tell me which ones they were. I will always pick that compart because of that fat flavor. It that depth of flavor that it has, I'll pick it every single time.
They are really nice. I mean, and I'm glad you said that. You can pick out the difference because there is a disparity between the some of the brands that you see. I mean, when it comes to competition, especially, I mean, you got compart. A lot of people winning with compart. A lot of people cooking comparts. Obviously, Prairie Fresh Naturals and Primes. Teams do just as well with both. I mean, I think it's fair to say. And then Allegiance, I see teams cooking Allegiance, and then I seen teams cooking Wichita, and it's crazy with the different brands. Like whatever you cook, stick to a certain. Because last year I flip flopped. I started off with Wichita, then I switched to Prairie Fresh, then I tried Compart, then I tried and they all have their different little attitudes and nuances when it comes to cooking them. And I think that's what really screwed me over because it was hard for me to kind of get that consistent, especially with tenderness, get that consistent tenderness when it comes to the different ribs. Do you kind of see that? Because I'm sure you've experimented with other brands and stuff like that before.
Oh, yeah. I think a long time ago. It's been a while, but we tried Wichita at one point, I think.
We did.
And
We
they
tried
were nice and thick, and they were okay. But yeah, we've tried different ones. Some are better than others. I mean, we started out with Allegiance. Allegiance was our go-to back in the day. They used to be really marbled, really thick. But then again, like anything, any honey hole, it dries up after a while, right?
Yeah.
Something happens where it sort of goes to crap and you switch. We were fortunate enough when we got on that BBQ show that they had Compart as their sponsor, and then the show ended for the barbecue side anyway, and Jim Compart kept us on, so we're very fortunate there.
Yeah.
So I would say this, of all the cooks, of all the thousands of butts, etc., do you think it's worth it now that you guys got into the Hall of Fame and you have the accolades kind of all encompassing? Was this ever a goal? Was it ever part of
The
or
Hall
was
of
it just like
yeah, was that a surprise to you, like when y'all got you got nominated, or did you kind of know it was in the works?
We knew before everybody else, but it wasn't. It was only maybe a couple months at max.
No, it was maybe
a month. Yeah, that we got notified, and I was like, "Is this for real?" And I don't know how they came up with it, right? So I'm like, usually when you do their Hall of Fames are sort of subjective, right? It's like, hey, this person's a good old boy or good old gal, and they, they're great, they're all over in barbecue. Everybody knows who they are. I'm like, we've done okay throughout the years. There were some things we didn't accomplish, but we're still cooking a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It definitely surprised us.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that it's just us two, right? We're married, we go out and we cook, but we don't expect it, and we didn't. Like you said, we thought we did okay, but we never thought about Hall of Fame or anything like that ever.
No,
ever.
Never entered our mind.
I mean, I feel like that's harder to accomplish than even a world championship. Because I mean, there's been a lot of people that win world championships, and that's a huge accomplishment on its own right. Don't get me wrong, but to be nominated and be respected enough to be allowed into the Hall of Fame of any hobby or any sport or anything like that, it's like I feel like that's like the highest level, and I know that's got to feel great for you guys because you guys have really grinded and put in the work, and you're great ambassadors for the sport, and it is a sport. Sweetheart, if you're listening to this, it's a sport. I'm an athlete. But I feel like you guys, it just encompasses, your body of work, and I know that's got to be rewarding to have that.
And there's a lot of great peers that are in,
yeah.
the induction class with you guys. So
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We feel honored, and what cracks me up is that all the people that we're on there with have sort of inspired us and taught us so much over the years.
Absolutely.
When you look at all the names, right? I'm like, wait,
Mhm.
you went to, like, probably half those people went to their classes, right?
Right.
They taught us a lot over the years. So yeah, definitely feel honored to be up with them. And we've been friends with Paul and Lynn for years. I remember going to a contest near us. I know they hate me telling this story. Winchester, Tennessee, and there was the Barbecue Superstars was doing a filming them. And I was like, man, they must be superstars. Paul and Lynn. And I remember watching their show. I'm like, wow, man, they're awesome. But yeah, it feels good, and we definitely feel honored and thankful for it all.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. Let's talk about, like, so we talked about a lot of the contests you've been to, and like you've cooked the Royal a lot, and you've have you ever done Memphis in May? Have you ever done KCBS or just KCBS? Have you done Memphis in May or anything like that? Another.
We haven't done Memphis in May or MBN. We've done the World Barbecue Championship in Gothenburg, Sweden. We were the US team there. Of course, we're in our shorts and t-shirts, and you've got
chef coats.
You've got teams showing up from all over the world in chef coats. So we're like, okay, we're screwed. We're very screwed.
That's hilarious. Typical Americans.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And where else?
Stupid Americans.
Did we lose them?
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, sorry. So we did a couple of GBA events over in Georgia with Smoke and Sweet. We were Meat with Feet was our team name.
Yeah, and that was fun. We had a good time there. It's always fun teaming up with another team. It's not serious. Sure. You're like, whatever happens, happens.
That's not true. Me and Meg were like this at the window going.
Yeah, but that was a cool feeling doing that, because you have that blind entry you do. And it's double blind, but for GBA, but you turn in that first round, and then they drive around and give you the final sheet. So
yeah, that's gotta be awesome.
Anything? In fact, what was it? We made finals in pork on that one.
On the first one, yeah.
And they passed us, and
they
did us last on purpose.
And went across the street.
Wow.
Yes, and then came over to us.
Yeah. But that was a great.
Was that? Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll say, was that the year that you guys won? Was it first place brisket in GBA?
No, we were
or something. I got you. Well, y'all were something because y'all taught at the GBA class one year, didn't you?
Class.
Oh, that was GBC. Yeah.
GBC class, yes. Yeah, that's where I first met you guys.
Actually, now it's Southeast Barbecue Association, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is KCBS. GBA is all pork, so they do
right.
loin and the pork butt.
Yeah. But now, what I was kind of leading into though, let's talk about how special, or you guys have been to the Jack many times, but is the Jack, like, in your opinion, more so than the Royal, like the epitome of what you want to accomplish in barbecue? Like, if you don't win another contest besides one other, obviously, but if you can win the Jack, I mean, is that kind of like, hey, we had a great year?
Yeah, I could see that. We did okay the first year. We have never won the Jack. We won ribs our first year out there.
Yes, we did. So
we're happy for that. But I think we've been 7 times now, so very fortunate for that.
But any major you win is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like if we go to the Royal and we won and got to sit on that throne, or he got to sit on the throne because he probably pushed me out of the way to get there.
I would 100%.
I mean, that would be a major thing. Winning the Invitational or the KCBS World, that would be a major thing. And the Jack, of course, is a major thing because it's got history and all of that, But yeah, I mean, just the experience of it all is I think what you take away, because
I mean,
there are always winners. There's always going to be winners there. Somebody has to come in first. Somebody has to come in last. We found that out in the invitational this year at KCBS World.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were DAL chicken for the first time ever.
Our first
got
ever
it.
Wow.
just happened.
Yeah, this year,
This
right?
year.
Wow. Well,
So-
the good
Welcome to the
news,
club.
like the good news, if you guys were to win this week, that's more shoe money from what I
Dude.
understand the agreement, right?
Yeah, I wish. That's what I thought it was at the
Shoe
beginning.
days are over.
Dude, if I
Yeah.
ever won the Royal, I would be so obnoxious. I would like walk up there and like take my shirt off, and I would have the robe on, and that's about it.
First of all, who are
And
you
like
kidding?
bow to the king. I'd be like, y'all bow before me.
Okay, I went nuts for this little apple because it was my first. If I were,
Oh, I went nuts when you won that apple. I think I was more excited than you were.
The apples are
I was.
awesome. Not gonna.
That's
not
it.
gonna
That's still one of my bucket list ones too, as well. But no,
next year,
Hey,
you'll come next year.
yeah.
brother.
I will become next year. No, but this is the time of show now. Let's get to it. It's the lightning round brought to you by Brothers Q Barbecue Supply for all your barbecue needs. Make sure you check out Brothers Barbecue Supply. Like I said, this time of show, I'll just ask you a few questions. Little one hitters, nothing too serious. Don't think about too much. And you guys ready to go?
Sure.
All right. Well, ready or not, here we go. All right. What is when you're at home or on the road, what is your favorite thing to cook? And who cooks it?
Steak.
Steak, yeah.
I'd have to say steak.
We're keto carnivore diet, so it's got to be meat based usually. We
Fair
don't
enough.
cook that barbecue.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest is going out to eat. Who cooks?
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Would you do a beach or mountain vacation?
Mountain.
Man,
Mountain.
I guess. Yeah. I guess this body
Sure.
doesn't belong to the beach. So,
Body by barbecue.
yeah.
Now, what is one thing you have with you on your trailer and when you cook and you cannot say your thermometer?
Say that again.
What is one thing you always have with you whenever you cook a competition and you cannot say your thermometer?
Your little brush. Oh, and a baby bottle warmer.
A baby bottle warmer.
Baby bottle warmer. I think there's a tip there, guys, if you're listening.
That'll do. That too.
All right. You got a walk-up song at a contest. What's it going to be? What are we hearing?
Oh, you know what? We've been talking about this, changing our song for Smoke on the Shores. Right now,
Get
it's
silly.
Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin, because that was the one we got our first place ribs at the Jack. Yep, that was our Washington song.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. If you could have a meat Rushmore, who would be on yours?
Oh wow.
That's crazy.
Definitely Darren, right? Darren Worth
Yep, gotta have to go.
would definitely be on
I was
there.
Smokey D's. Yeah.
Who else?
Probably Brad. You'd have to have
Oh, Brad.
Get
Yeah.
basted.
Tom Brady. All right.
Throw him alone, you know. Who else?
I don't know. You'd have to throw Brian up there. Jarvis would be offended if you didn't put him up there.
Yeah, Brian Jarvis.
Wow. All right. Brian Jarvis.
Hasn't he been helping you out with brisket?
Yeah, right. There are so many good teams. Man, it's tough. There's
It
been
is.
so many people that helped us over the years. So yeah. But
You
yeah,
got one more, right?
What's
Yeah,
that?
you got one more. You got one more. Mount Rushmore. Last time I checked, that's 4.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I don't know about Alabama, but I mean, in South Dakota, they got 4.
Who?
I don't know.
Jason Cole, good idea.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the highest
Yeah.
recorded score in KZB's history, as far as I know, right now.
Who knows? Yeah. I don't know
Fair,
who the fourth would
fair
be.
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, it's hard to follow Brian Jarvis, so I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
anybody else that deserves it, right?
Fair enough. Fair enough, then. All right, last question. Last question.
Terry.
Yeah.
We'll throw Trey Terry up there, too.
All right. In the state of Alabama, who makes the best white sauce?
If we
Ooh.
ate it, we would know. You know, the best white sauce I've ever had, I have to say, was in Tennessee, and it was Charcoal Cowboys when they had their restaurant.
They do have good. I know those guys, and they do make good white sauce. I feel like white sauce is underrated. You know, it doesn't get enough love in the barbecue world. It's like the mustard sauce. It doesn't get enough love. I mean, I feel like there's a time and place for it.
Mustard sauce, but white sauce. I remember we first moved to Alabama from New Orleans. Everybody said something about white sauce, so we went to Big Bob's, and I'm like, I looked at her, I'm like, I do not like this stuff. I'm like, who likes this? And,
Dude, Big Bob's, their chicken wings are phenomenal.
Really?
Delicious.
But the white sauce wasn't my thing, and I really haven't had much since.
You had it with remember they had the turkey at Chocolate
Yeah,
Cowboys
that
when
was
we went,
good.
and
That was good. But yeah, I'm not a white sauce person, so I couldn't even tell you who the best is anymore.
Fair enough, man. Like I said, you're in Alabama. I had to ask you at least one white sauce question.
We're transplants.
Everybody
You
always
can't
asks
ask
us that. Hey, do you put white sauce on your barbecue? I'm
no.
like,
Yeah. Well, I'm from Kentucky. Like, oh, you like mutton? I'm like,
yeah,
it's okay.
that's true. You're right. So you blame
it's
that on
good.
the- Didn't they do an episode
Yes,
with
they
mutton?
did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, well, I mean, so they did Pitmasters, and they did the two biggest, which is Moonlight and it's Old Hickory, and they're both in Owensboro, Kentucky, and it's burgoo and mutton. That's what we're famous for. We're like the barbecue black hole. It's like y'all cook the stuff that no one else in America cooks, and there you go. But no, man. But hey, thank you guys so much for coming on. It's truly been an honor and a pleasure to have gotten to know you guys over the years, and now I'm getting to see. I've seen you guys more this year than I think I ever have in my career. Being on the Alabama circuit, and you got to see my shenanigans and my loud music and my ass holiness. So my clock, my Flavor Flav clock. But no, it's been an honor, and I truly appreciate what you guys have done for the sport, and y'all are great representatives, and I appreciate everything you guys do. So this is a time of show where let people know where they can find you, let people know what you got coming up, and if you have any announcements you want to give, feel free.
So we're on Facebook.
We're on Facebook. Yeah,
We're on
Smoke Me
Facebook.
Silly BBQ team.
Yeah, we do have a YouTube channel. There's about 10 videos up there, maybe.
Yeah.
From a couple years ago. Hopefully soon we'll
One
get
day
back
maybe
to
we'll
it.
start back up.
And that's Silly Barbecue Life. What else? We'll be at the Atlanta Barbecue Store Classic coming up. We're at the Royal
After
this
the
weekend,
Royal, yeah.
and we'll be
in
in
Demopolis, Alabama. So check out Demopolis,
There you
Alabama. It's one of those contests that nobody sort of knows about. It's a great little small town contest.
Yep.
Sort of southwest Alabama, past Tuscaloosa, and it's a good time. Especially if you have kids, it's good with the Christmas floats on the river and all that. So check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Lex and I just picked up maybe about 7 contests for next year. So one of those,
I heard.
one of those is Louisville, Kentucky.
Yep.
Yeah. Which one is that? What's that one going to be?
That one's the Mother's Day weekend. It's the
First
weekend after
weekend
the Kentucky
of
Derby.
May, yeah.
It's right around the corner from Churchill Downs.
You may not be. Your wife's not gonna let you go, Logan. It's Mother's Day.
Oh, 100%. I will take her out there. I'll buy her a hat for the Derby, and then we can hang over.
There you go.
Dude, if you haven't been to the Derby, I highly recommend you go a week early and check out the Derby, because everybody has a crazy Derby story. If you go, you have a crazy Derby story. Hey, you may even get to play beer pong with Jimmy Fallon, like I did.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
it was a drunken mess.
I bet.
No, but no. So that's cool. So my goal is to cook every pro comp in Kentucky next year, because there's not many of them. I think there's 2, Carrollton and that one, I guess.
Yeah,
I think
Derby Q. Yeah, I don't know any others.
Derby Q. That's a new one, right? That's gonna be a new one, right?
The first year was this year.
Yeah, this year was the first thing. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm doing that next year.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Over all the Appleton's backyards too. So.
Like, are they stepping down officially, or are they just kind of taking,
They're stepping back. They're good. They decided they want to do a little bit of traveling, so they're going to be emergency reps.
Yep.
Their last one will be Gadsden Smoke on the Falls.
This coming year.
We're cooking that one, yeah.
Yeah, we're cooking that one.
So yeah.
I'll be there.
Yep. So we'll see you out on the trail for sure.
all summer.
Absolutely. Wait.
So
Oh yeah, this fool's running for the board.
Okay.
Hey.
Get your votes
you got
in.
That's right. Vote often and vote early.
Has to be what? It's by the 31st, isn't it? By Thursday?
no. The voting doesn't start until December 26th.
Yeah, the end of
29th?
December. Yep.
Yeah.
What voting is up this week?
The nominees will have their stuff.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
On the
Sorry.
31st, yeah. And I think
Awesome. Well, good.
Town hall on the 4th or something of December.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much, and good luck this weekend. I hope I see you guys with a robe on.
Or run up on stage and just truck you.
Absolutely. You get Robert. You got to take the shirt off and just put the robe on and be like a WWE wrestler, man, walking out there, man.
That's everybody's throwing up in the crowd, right?
Well, hey, screw them. You just won a world championship, okay? You put that robe on. But no, man, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for coming on. I look forward to seeing you on the trail.
All right, let's do it,
thank
buddy.
you.
Thank you.
See you, buddy. Man, I can't get rid of this cough. This is ridiculous. Ooh, that's too much. That is too much Logan. Yeah. Ooh. I mean, I'm good looking, but darn. No, man. That is this week. That is this month. We wrapping it up. Matt, thank you so much. What a great guest you picked. Just been great guest all week. I think he's been nothing but hitters this month, honestly.
Oh yes, we are ramping up.
Tim, Robert. I mean, yeah, it's been solid, man. Solid gets. And we continue our solid hitters next week with Politically Incorrect, Mr. Wes.
Mr. Wes Garrett.
He is a wild and wacky man, just like myself, and I do appreciate him and everything he does, and I can't wait to talk to him. But yeah, man, it's been a good time. I got deer season coming up. I have been watching nothing but deer videos, and I may or may not be doing a round table at the deer camp, barbecue deer camp, this year for one of our episodes, or maybe just an extra one. Who knows?
All about it.
I've had some barbecue celebrities in the house, so we'll see how it goes. Man, we had somebody from Manchester, England, watching the show tonight. Man,
international baby.
We are international. No, fun fact. Because I look at the analytics on the show, and we actually have some listeners from 6 different countries. So, yeah, man, yeah, they like excellent content in the barbecue realm, and I guarantee you, in jolly old England, when it comes to barbecue, that man right there is always right on cue. All right, man. See you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
That's all, folks.